What's up, guys? Today I'll be reviewing the Warrior Burn FO lacrosse head. It's my go-to head. I actually used it in the Fall Classic last month. Spent thousands of hours with it. Let's get into it. Break-in score. I thought it broke in very, very nicely. After the first 3 face-offs, it was grabbing the ball really nice after each clamp. It was face flexing, traditional flexing. It was great. Really, really easy to break in. That's why I give it a 5 out of 5. Regarding the clamp, I love it. I think this is one of the best heads for clamping just because the throat is so stiff and the side rails are so powerful. You push your opponent's stick right off that ball, warps around the ball very, very nicely. For that reason, I give it a 5 out of 5. Rake score. So before it got warped like this, it was very straight. There was a very little offset. So you were able to get really flat along the ground, meaning the rakes were really, really nice. Now, as it's worked in, broken in, there's a 90-degree angle, you try and rake it and it doesn't get nearly as flat, which is why this head is so bad for raking after it's warped. Initially, I give it a 5 out of 5. After it's worked in, a 2 out of 5. Exit score. So like I mentioned, this head's very, very easy to break in. With the face flex, with the traditional flex, it's easy to exit to all points on that field. You can exit anywhere. That's if, it's new, it's not totally worked in, it's not warped. Once it is warped, it's very hard. You can't get a drag. It's it just stays in place. It doesn't really bend much after it's warped like this. It's pretty much solidified. There's no give to it. It's very, very hard to exit. You first get the head, exit score, 5 out of 5. Once it's warped, I'm gonna give it a 1 out of 5. Just because it's very, very bad. There's not many exits that you can really do when it's worked in this much. Build quality. I absolutely love this head. I love the thought and the design. Everything that went into making this head, I love it. The top rail is obviously asymmetrical to the bottom rail. Top rail helps with, having power behind that clamp, pushing your opponent's top rail off that ball. There's a lot more support compared to the bottom rail, the sim rail. Sim rail definitely helps with dragging along the ground, exiting pretty cleanly. I would love to give it a 5 out of 5, but because it's warped and warps pretty easily, I have to give the build quality a 4 out of 5. So the scoop score, average, nothing special. As it starts warping on that 90-degree angle, it's a bit tougher to pick up GBs, but initially it was very, very easy. So I'm gonna meet in the middle, give it a 3 out of 5. Warp score. As you guys can see, this head is pretty warped right now. I might have used it a little more than the other heads I've used. Did not hold the structure, the original structure that it had when I first got it. It's bent, the side rails are bent on a kind of 90-degree angle. And for that reason, I give it a 2 out of 5. Again, playing score is definitely low. It's very hard to play with a stick this warped after it's worked in. For that reason, I'm gonna give it a 2 out of 5. The warranty score. And the warranty policy covers a one-time replacement on the original purchased item only. Intentional alterations to heads such as dyeing, melting, or bending will void the warranty on all Warrior heads. So I'm not sure if that applies for face-off heads, but that's what they have written in the policy. I wouldn't want to risk that, so that's why I gave it such a low score. I scored this a 2 out of 5. Overall, guys, I really love this head. It's my go-to head for facing off. Like I said, initially it's so good, but as it starts to get really, really worked in, the scores start to decline and it becomes very, very hard to use. That's why they created the Warrior Burn FO recovery. Right? It solves a lot of the problems. It takes a lot of impact, doesn't warp at all, recovers, play on words, back into place. And it's a lot more feasible for families that can't buy a new head for every game. Right? It lasts a lot longer, doesn't warp, play lacrosse. It's great. So I'm excited to do this review. Catch you guys next time. Thanks for joining us. Peace.